This is the Tornado Trackers podcast. The Tornado Trackers are storm chasers Jeremy Heyman, Jeff Mangum, and me, Gabe Cox.
Hey, I'm Jeremy.
I'm Gabe.
And I'm Jeff.
Welcome to the Tornado Trackers podcast. We are so excited to have you. I'm trying some energy up
I like
top,
it.
Energy
I felt
up
that.
top.
Yeah.
Good.
I feel that.
Come on. This is a storm chasing podcast of three best friends who drive all across the country, chasing crazy storms, shooting them, posting them online, and just enjoying Mother Nature. And today, we're going to talk about some crazy storms. But first, Jeff, I saw you lighting a candle in your studio before we were
Gotta
recording.
get that update.
And you can't just light a candle and not tell me about it. So what do you got going?
You know how I am about my candles, man. This is from Orleans Home Fragrances. So I'm doing advertisements for them. And my mother-in-law has this at her house, and I told her I love that candle. And she bought me one, and I burned right through it. And so I had to order online another one. And let me just tell you, it is a delightful treat to the nostrils.
Heck yeah. Yeah, Orleans, we can't be bought, but if you want to sponsor us,
That's right.
we'll be okay with that. Just send us a pallet of candles,
Yep.
That'll be fine. We take that.
I'm in for that.
Fabulous. Heck yeah. Well, how you guys doing?
I'm doing okay. I'm a little upset about the forecast coming up here in Texas.
Yeah.
I know it's gonna date the podcast a little bit, but I grew up a Yankee and I moved to the South for a reason, and it was not to be followed by single digits
Or minus degrees.
or
yeah.
minus degrees and snowfall. So I'm happy for my kids. I'll put on a happy face for them, but overall, this former Mainer is not that excited about it.
Yeah, y'all Texans have had a crazy winter in 2021 so far. It's kind of bizarre.
Yeah, if you grew up in Texas, though, or at least Central Texas, then this is all a winter wonderland. It's a winter wonderland extended. Now, so it sounds great until it is single digits and you stay inside and you don't want to go outside.
I'm not prepared for it. I gave away all my good cold weather clothes. Like I have nothing for single digits.
What are you going to do?
I'm just going to look out the window the whole time.
Shorts. You just go shorts.
Be in the bath. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or jorts. Can you wear jorts?
Jordan
Not
up,
shorts, but yeah.
Jorts. I got some jorts.
Jorts.
Winter
I'm not
jorts.
afraid of jorts. I'm afraid of jorts in single degree weather, yeah.
I want that quote. I'm not afraid of jorts. Gabe
I'm not
Cox.
afraid of jorts. It's a new t-shirt available in the Tornado Trackers store,
Hey, yeah, plug that store. Fantastic.
tornadotrackers.org. Check it out.
Well, let's dive in, fellas. Today we're going to talk about a really incredible day in our history, in one of our histories, specifically Jeff's history of storm chasing. But the three of us, for sure, kind of being a team, we absorb all of our chases collectively. We're like the Borg from Star Trek in that way. But yeah, we want to talk about today. This was June 16th, 2014, the Pilger, Wakefield, Stanton outbreak. Now,
Yes.
Jeff, just hit us up off the top of your dome. Like, what comes to your mind, even 7 years later, when you hear the Pilger, Wakefield, Stanton day?
Well, that day is one of those, for a storm chaser, it's a dream day. The way that whole chase started, it was a week-long adventure. And so we have our friend David McConnell on here with us because he was chasing with me that day. And I think it's really important for me to share the story about how that chase even happened. So David and I in 2014 were new friends. And we had gone on a little bit of like a weekend vacation, and, the kids are playing and the wives are hanging out under the sunshade, and David and I are going down water slides and just having a good time. And I start looking at the tornado forecast for the upcoming week. and it looked like it was going to be pretty magnificent. And so I think David's wife was asking my wife what I was doing. And she goes, well, he's just looking at tornado forecasts. It's what he does. And I said, I think I'm going to leave the moment we get back home. I'm going to drive up to Nebraska, I think. And so David's wife turns to him and says, babe, you should totally go with him. And I'm like, yeah, babe, you should totally go with me. And so just right then and there, we decided, all right, we're about to embark on 5 days together.
David, we've met maybe once, but honestly, for some reason, I think about this all the time. You had never experienced anything like this before. So like, what was it like for you to kind of take a leap on this weird guy named Jeff who wants to take you up to Nebraska of all places? Like, what was going through your head at this point?
It was pretty crazy. I think, so I'm a teacher by trade, and this was early June. And so I had, I was off for the summer. And so, yeah, when he suggested I go with him, I was like, why not? That I've never even thought about doing anything like this before. And it just sounded like a cool adventure, and he seemed like a cool guy. So I was like, all right, I'll hang out with him for a week or whatever. And I had no idea, of course, what I was going to see on this trip. But yeah, I was up for, a cool adventure.
I think for both of us, we were like, we're about to go 5 days at least, and this could go south, or hopefully it doesn't, but I think it's going to go good.
So, Jeff, what do you remember of that day, June 16th, forecast-wise? Like, walk us through kind of the Storm Chasers morning.
Yeah, I remember the day or two even leading up to the day of the Pilger tornadoes really well, because the atmosphere is so fluid, and it's as much as there's forecasts made, and you can look at weather models and get some ideas of what could happen. There's no guarantee something's going to happen. The forecast at that point had been hinting toward a significant storm event happening on the 16th. But at that point, it was forecasted as large hail, high winds, and maybe a tornado or two. I woke up that morning a little bit down, thinking, man, this is exactly what I was afraid was going to happen. It's going to be this large storm system that's all gelled together, and we won't have anything really to chase. And so we get into the car, and I'm limiting all my expectations, and I'm not telling David what I'm really thinking. And so I'm like, hey, man, we could see anything today, but in my gut, I'm crying. And so we get into the car, we start driving, and things just changed. Like about 10 or 11 o'clock that morning, the sun came out and heated up the entire atmosphere, like everywhere around us, clear skies. And for those who are not storm chasers or into meteorology, when you have an unstable environment and the sun comes out, it just boils the atmosphere. And that's what you want as a storm chaser. You want that atmosphere to boil. And we started driving around, and the first supercell just exploded out of nowhere. And that was near Stanton, Nebraska. David, do you remember like this process that we were going through at all? Because I obsess over it every day.
I remember sitting in the parking lot of some fast food restaurant and just staring up at the clouds and just watching them build. And just watching, and I'd never really done that before, and just sitting there, and it's just amazing watching these clouds just continue to go up and up and up. And when you're paying attention to it, it's really incredible to watch.
Yeah. So we started driving north, and so Pilger is a small town, and to its west and southwest is a small town named Stanton. And we saw the storm popping up on radar, and it just grew exponentially fast. And I remember we were getting some gas for our car, and there was another storm chaser there, and he says, we better hurry up because this thing is going to explode, and I bet it drops a tornado. And I remember thinking, okay, talk about over-ambition. I appreciate that you think that, but we're going to hold back for a little bit. It's not going to produce a tornado that quick. And within 5 minutes, a tornado warning came out. And so at that point, I told David, I was like, all right, game on. From this point on, high alert. There's already a tornado warning. Today might go off more than we thought.
And David, up to this point, what in your life was like the most severe weather you'd been in? I mean, you grew up in Texas, so I'm sure you're very familiar with the springtime and things like that. But what kind of like up to this point was the most severe weather you had been in?
Severe thunderstorms rolling in, lots of wind, lightning, thunder, rain. But, as a normal human, I'm cowering indoors when that happens. So
that's what a normal human does.
Are you saying we are abnormal?
A little bit.
That's unclear.
Okay, so, and I was reflecting, Jeff, just as you were talking. A lot of our stories, I feel like, play in this narrative or this arc of like emotional roller coaster, and then a wild storm chaser comes out from behind a tree and is like, "No, that's going to drop us a tornado," and
then they disappear.
Yeah, exactly. A wizard or something. Yeah. Now the chase is on, right?
The chase is on, and you're right. When you're thinking about the night before and the morning of, you've already convinced yourself 4 or 5 times there will be a tornado outbreak, and you've convinced yourself 4 or 5 times that a cloud won't even appear all day. So you're all over the map emotionally, and so you're trying to set your expectations. But at that point, there was no storm in sight except one. And so at this point, we're going as fast as we can legally to get into place. And before you knew it, there were already confirmations there's a tornado on the ground. And at this point, I'm in quiet freak out mode because I'm trying to play it cool to David, like, oh, look, tornadoes on the ground. Let's go ahead and try to get there. But inside my heart, I'm like, we've missed the beginning of it. I hope we don't miss it. The whole day will be ruined. Why am I alive? And so, so we're driving south. We're trying to get in front of where the storm is. And everywhere we went was flat except this one area that we were trying to get to. And it was nothing but these roller coaster hills. It was crazy. And we start going up these hills and down these slopes, and we get a glimpse of this tornado, probably, I'm guessing it's 3 or 4 miles away. And you can hear David make a comment, and he goes, something like, oh my, he says something, say, I see that. And then of course we go downhill and we can't see it.
It's on the ground. Oh, dude. Look at the size of that thing. That thing is massive.
We finally pull up to where this road ends, and we go north, and we're on top of this hill, and we can see this massive, massive tornado. Put the car in reverse, and we get out. And what was really amazing was I was not anticipating how windy it was where we're at. You would think, hey, you're near a tornado, it's windy. But we felt far enough away that it would actually not be that windy, but we could barely hold our cameras. In fact, the footage shows we are all over the place. Like David did better than I was doing. I had my iPhone out and I am all over the place and watch this tornado go from a quarter mile wide, half mile wide to approaching a mile wide. And we spent about 3 minutes just watching it grow. And we were in the middle of nowhere, and there were some flooded, muddy ditches. We took the road less traveled, for sure, compared to other chasers. And so by the time we got back in the car and we tried to chase it, we were all over the roads and the back roads, and thought we had missed it again. But it was a heck of a start to the day.
Yeah, as far as I can get.
And that was rated EF4, right?
Yeah, there were 4 tornadoes that day, and that's the first. All of them were EF4, and that was Stanton, Nebraska, and it was EF4. It was significant. The damage that it produced was significant. More than anything, I could not believe how big it was. It was just so massive in size, and the way that it grew. I remember telling David at one point, "Hey, that thing's a half mile wide or more," and I just couldn't. It didn't compute in my head, and so. We went through, we got to the town of Stanton, and we tried to catch up to it. So we drove north. We had no idea that the rest of the day was going to unfold the way it unfolded.
And David, what was that like seeing your first tornado?
That part of the day is probably one of the clearest. When Jeff was talking about those kind of roller coaster hills, I remember that so well, just because it seemed like we were on the verge of something, right? Like seeing, like it was just over the next hill, and we kept going up and down and up and down, and every time we approached, the top of the hill, it was like we could kind of get a little peek at it, and then as we got closer, we would have to go back down and then back up, and it was just like this anticipation was building. And then finally, and this was like some back dirt road, and that's another thing I remember about the trip is just how hard and interesting it was to navigate all these back roads as you're chasing, and you just have to like figure out really quickly, I think there might be a road here, and then take it. And
or make a road.
There is.
We'll make a road.
Yeah. I remember at one point we were driving, and this was after this moment, but I think, and we were driving, and it seemed like we were just driving through a field maybe. And I remember there were just like kind of some ruts and a bunch of really tall, what seemed like weeds or grass or something, like almost as tall as the car. And we couldn't really see where we were going. And he was like, "Oh man, I hope we don't get stuck." And I was just thinking, we're totally going to get stuck. But he just kept going, and luckily we didn't. But that was crazy. And then and then finally we get to the end of this dirt road, and we come up to the top of the hill where it meets another road, and there it is. There's this tornado, and I don't know, like it just didn't seem real. No. It's like I've seen this in movies, I've seen it on the news, on the Discovery Channel, on TV or whatever, but like I'm here right now, and there's this force of nature, and all I could do was stare at it, and I'd probably say, "Wow," and try to point the camera in the right direction. But yeah, it's stunning and amazing, and like I said, it doesn't seem real in the moment.
And it was at that point when we came up to that tornado, driving north. To this day, I've never seen. I mean, of all the tornadoes we've seen and we've chased and we've videoed, I have never seen a tornado so magnificent in size, not just wide but tall. And I didn't even know what to look at. It was just so big. And I remember thinking, this is overwhelming. This is too much. I don't know what could possibly survive inside of that, And we pulled over we kind of stopped, got our bearings straight. We're filming it. And then I get a phone call from Gabe.
Oh, yes. So I'm at this point living in Jacksonville, Florida. And I was already in disbelief that Jeff and David were seeing this massive tornado. So I'm tracking everything online, and I have the radar pulled up, and I have other Storm Chaser streams pulled up. And I notice a second area of rotation forming just I think it was to your east, if I remember right.
That's right.
And I called Jeff because I knew that they were hyper-focused on this first tornado. And I called Jeff, and I said, "Hey, man, I think there may be a second area of rotation just to your east." And of course, he was in the moment, so he said, "Hey, I'll call you back in a second." But then,
and I never called back.
I didn't really expect a call at that point. I knew he was in the zone, but I wanted to make sure he knew that was there. And I think immediately you looked over and saw something, if I remember right.
Hey, what's up, buddy? Okay, we are... Hold on just a second. Hey, can I call you back? Oh. That's exactly what he was talking about. You get that one. Okay. It's exactly what happened. In fact, again, so much was going through our brains. David and I are sitting there just kind of in awe. And when Gabe called, he says, "Hey, there's another area of rotation to your east." I looked, and sure enough, there's a tornado forming. And I have all these thoughts, like, do we chase that one? Do we keep chasing this one? How do I possibly handle both of these? So I think I just told Gabe, I'll call you back. And after I hung up, I told David with his camera, I said, hey, you get that one. And that was the beginning of the Pilger tornado, the infamous Pilger tornado, the first one.
Wow. Yeah. So bona fide outbreak is occurring around you at the time. And so that would be a first for you as well, Jeff, right? So I love that this moment was kind of like you and David were experiencing these firsts together, trying to keep it together, trying to do all the things that storm chasers have to do, like David was saying, really well. Like you just kind of like improv what road to take and like pray to God that you made the right call, and that you're not going to like hit the end of something, or have to turn around or lose precious time, because it's almost like a ticking clock is constantly, going off in our heads. So take us through kind of, Jeff, how the rest of the day unfolded from your guys' perspective, because it's like this story only ramps up from here.
Yeah, it just intensifies and intensifies. We started busing north, and we start making our way. I forgot what the name of the road is, the highway, but we start heading toward Pilger, and there was a car that had been thrown into the side, like a ditch to our right. And I remember it's really interesting, and it's going to sound almost inhumane sometimes, because you're thinking about storm chasing and about the tornado, and in my head, like you were saying, Jeremy, there's a ticking clock, because I'm like, we need to check and make sure these people are okay. But in my head, I'm also thinking, if they are okay, we need to get back in this car and get moving, because we might miss something pretty significant. So I pull over. I drove too far over, and I had to run back probably, honestly, about 50 yards. Ridiculous amount of running. I was out of breath, very out of shape. And we get there, and they're out of the car saying everything's fine, we're good. And so I wave at them, and I turn back for that next 50 yards back to the car. And I remember just praying, Lord, just don't let me die in this run. And I get back into the car, and I'm out of breath. I think even in the video, I'm just like, okay, we got to go get these tornadoes.
Yeah, Gabe, cut that audio in now. Right now.
Yeah, we got it. It's about to drop another one here. That is a big daddy right there.
No one just came down.
Watch out over here. There's a bunch of cars.
This is Chaser Convergence. Okay. So we start heading down, and all we know is that there's this tornado that in Pilger. But then behind it, we can see a second one, and this would be our third one of the day. We see a second one forming just behind this main tornado. And all we knew to do, like, we didn't talk much. David and I did not say much. We just filmed, and honestly, we're just driving and hoping that this tornado is going through open land. But you can see all this debris, and that's the one that went through Pilger, and it went through downtown. I mean, it hit it straight on. I've never seen twins like this before. Never seen anything like this before. We're gonna be able to get past it.
Across the road right now. That other one's still going.
I'm curious, David, like, what was going through your mind? Like, the closer we got toward the town, and there's now two very large tornadoes right next to each other going over this highway. What are some of the thoughts that were going through your mind? Were you in mental paralysis like I was? And I was just playing it off. Like, I'm acting really cool, and I'm just saying stuff. But for you, like, what was going through your mind and all that?
I think part of me was wondering, like, how close are we going to get? Because these are like two really big tornadoes, and we're driving toward them, and they're just getting bigger and bigger, in our windshield. And yeah, so part of me is just wondering, like, how close do you actually get? I'm pretty sure I trust this guy next to me.
Why is he accelerating?
Like, he seems to know what he's doing, right? He's talking a lot of weather stuff, I mean, so yeah, I think that, somewhat understanding, like, this isn't normal, right? Yeah, this is not something, even storm chasers see ever, really. These two huge tornadoes right next to each other. And just trying to take it all in as much as I could.
I remember, like I said, I was watching Storm Chaser live streams. So I hadn't heard back from Jeff. He never called me back, and I forgive him for that.
I'm so sorry.
Because of the circumstances. But I remember watching these live streams, and then sure enough, these two tornadoes pop onto everyone's live streams, and I couldn't comprehend what I was seeing because nothing like that had ever happened in our lifetime. And I was texting Jeff. I was like, I don't, for some reason I thought, no, Jeff isn't seeing this. Like, I don't know someone who's seeing this historic event. Like, that's just too much to handle. And he texted back. He's like, yeah, there's two on the ground. And I was freaking out. So I'm in Jacksonville. I'm at home. I'm supposed to be working, but I was not. And watching these live streams, and I was trying to pull in my wife in. Meredith, you got to come see this. Girls, come look at this. You're never going to see something like this again. And to be able to watch it live on the internet was already mind-blowing. So I can't imagine what it was like for you guys seeing that in person. And I at some point in the video, Jeff, you even say this is a historic day.
Yeah.
Like you make that statement because you knew in the moment this is such a rare thing.
I mean, this is unfortunately a historic day. We're looking at two wedges. I don't know
how big are those? Are those?
That one up there is half a mile wide on the right. This one's probably a quarter mile. It's hard to tell, but.
And those are like EF4s?
I don't know. Looking at that damage back there, that was EF3, EF4. Oh my. It's just cycling over and over, man. Please, I hope it didn't hit these houses. I don't think it did. It just hits you going, this is not, you don't have to chase a lot of tornadoes and see a lot of tornadoes to first understand how significant of a day it was. Anyone could have recognized that as, this is abnormal, even for those who chase tornadoes. And the thing that was in the back of my mind, really interesting, as a storm chase team, one of the things that we do, if we're chasing together or if one of us or two of us are not there, and we're always in communication, whether Jeremy, Gabe, myself, we're always communicating, what are you seeing? Here's what we see on radar. How are you? Are you alive? Basic questions like that.
I love you.
I love you. Stay safe, all the things, but usually what happens is if we don't hear from one another for about 20, 30, 45 minutes, we just assume, oh, they're in the middle of it. They're in the middle of the storm. They're documenting it and they'll get back, in the next 20 minutes. So that's what I thought. When I told Gabe, I'll call you back. In my head, I was like, there's no way I'm going to be chasing tornadoes nonstop for an hour and a half. That's not something that happens. I kept turning to David going, do you understand this is not what happens on your first storm chase? Your first, you are spoiled rotten with tornado chasing because there's no way you're seeing these half mile to mile wide tornadoes and now two next to each other. I was like, you're never going to be happy ever again when you storm chase. Everything's going to be, subpar. And so both these tornadoes cross over the highway. They're kind of rebuilding a little bit, and they both become so wide. And we're driving. It really was picturesque. But we just chased, and I don't think we said much to each other because I did tell him, hey, when you're recording, we're going to try not to act crazy because it's going to come out in the video. But honestly, we were just in awe. What do you do with this?
Yeah. So David, in hindsight, what does this memory mean to you?
That's a good question. It's treasured for sure. So I brought a little show and tell with me, even though we're on radio, but
Yeah.
this is a picture in my living room.
Wow.
And it's the twins.
Tornadoes. It's the twins.
Yeah.
That's
and
a great shot.
So yeah, it's one of the shots we got that day. And
do people ask about that when they come into your living room?
Yes, that's why it's there. So it's a story I like to tell. And so yeah, and then like I said earlier, I'm a teacher, and so one of the ways I show my students I'm awesome at the beginning of every year is I show the video of that day, the Tornado Trackers video, where you can hear my voice and see all the amazing footage that we shot that day. So yeah.
Does it work? Do kids think you're cool?
Some of them, yeah. Of course, other ones are like, yeah, I've seen this before on TV, big deal, whatever.
That's how you pick out who you like for the year. You're like, okay, you're cool.
And you
you're
fail,
cool,
you fail, you fail.
So yeah, I try to earn some cool points for sure. But yeah, it's hard to describe. So some random thoughts have been popping in my head, Jeff, as you've been kind of retelling that day. So I'm kind of going backwards a little bit here.
That's fine.
When you had mentioned that we stopped at that gas station, that's when I realized, like, wow, there's like other people who do this.
Yeah.
And like, and that kept happening throughout the day,
Yep.
especially before things, started firing off. It was just like, Jeff was talking to these people he seemed to know and about weather, and they were saying things I didn't understand, but it was like, wow, there's like this whole subculture, this whole community of people, and they're all here. So, something cool is probably about to happen. So those are just kind of some random thoughts from earlier.
I think the last things that jump out to how that chase ended was it really was a marathon. I don't think we were emotionally or mentally or physically prepared for that, but you were on for like 2 hours. You were all in, and the tornadoes just wouldn't stop, which is great for storm chasing, but it was exhausting. And then we come across those two twin tornadoes. They've taken on a different shape, and that Pilger tornado now was this rope, and it was doing damage on the ground, but it was really skinny, and it was moving so fast from left to right. Like we were trying to catch up to it. And there came a point to where I remember us saying, there's no way we can catch up to this thing. It was just moving so fast. And we've come to find out it holds the record for the fastest forward motion of a tornado in history. And we could attest to that. I remember looking at that going, that thing is going abnormally fast. And so we chased it as long as we could. The fourth EF4 appeared. That was the Wakefield tornado. That was EF4. We chased that the best we could. And I remember the last moment is we chased it until it dissipated. And I remember this moment with my camera pressing off going, and that's that. Like it just felt like It was like it felt like a movie. It started, we got when it started, and we caught it right when it ended. And we just kind of looked at each other going, what just happened?
Wow.
Crazy.
4 EF4s in one day.
One, I don't know. I was thinking about that rope. Can't get that rope out of my mind. And one last
That's
thing.
That's a good T-shirt too. That we're adding that to the store. Can't get that rope out of my mind.
That's so good.
Nice.
Sorry, continue.
No, that's cool. Obviously set the record. So it was moving fast, and I remember it moving across, our view over towards the wedge, and just, it was like it crossed right in front of the wedge. And, there's just this beautiful shot of the rope, coming down in that curvy way, right in front of this gorgeous wedge. And then lightning just lit it up.
Just a big bolt.
Beautiful.
That
purple.
bolt, that signature bolt.
Yeah.
That thing's a freak. Yeah. What was with that bolt, man? That was crazy.
Yeah, that's something that sticks out in my mind, and that I'll never forget for sure.
I agree.
Wow.
When it hit,
that bolt actually played a pivotal role in figuring out some pretty amazing statistics. If you tune into our next episode with Pecos Hank, you'll get to hear how that millisecond in time played a huge role in making history.
Good tease, Gabe.
Ooh,
good tease.
Nice
Very good
tease.
Storm tease.
Storm tease. Another T-shirt. Man, we're loading up our store tonight.
What are the graphics on that one going to look like?
Just pure,
Explicit.
Yeah, just blurred out,
just Helvetica font.
Pixelated. All right, fellas, that's another awesome episode of the Tornado Trackers podcast. David McConnell, thank you so much for joining us. Your perspective was so wonderful. Check out the show notes. We post all the videos in there. We realize this is an audio format. We're talking about visual things. So yeah, just subscribe to us on YouTube. That would mean a lot to us. We are Tornado Trackers on YouTube. We're Tornado Trackers everywhere else on the web, too. Twitter, Instagram, and our website is tornadotrackers.org. Comment on Apple Podcasts a storm story that is really memorable. We love storm stories. We think everyone has a storm story. And so we'd love to read those on the air in the future sometime. We think that would be pretty awesome. But that's about it. Another awesome episode of the Tornado Trackers podcast. And we will catch you in a couple weeks. See ya.